right, hello everyone. I'm going to be giving a little tutorial on scratch DJing for anyone who's interested. Love it to reverb. Yeah, what's up? Hang on. That better? Better. I'm going to start off just by doing some scratches and stuff to warm up. After that, I'm going to break down all the basic scratches to just basically explain how they work. Then I have some kind of do's and don'ts. And yeah, after that, anyone who's interested can get involved, try it themselves, and I'll try to help them along if they're interested in starting scratching. So yeah, I'll just start off by doing some cuts on that, and we'll go from there. So yeah, I guess I'm going to be kind of breaking down the scratches using this kind of form of scratch notation. It should make it easier for people to understand. We'll start off with the most basic scratch, I suppose, called the baby. The fader isn't used at all. And the way the scratch notation works is... Okay. All right. Basically, it works like this. That's the record going forward and the record going back. All right? So that would look like that. All right. So record going forward and record going back. So let's say you had something like that.
What is it?
That would look like... Okay. So, like I was saying, that's yeah? That's basically how the scratch notation works. So, babies, yeah, I'll demonstrate them now.
Ladies and gentlemen, get on up.
Okay, they were all variations of the baby. It was a scratch that was invented by Grand Wizard Theodore in 1974. Up next is the stab, right? So how that works out is you're basically cutting off the pullback. So with our little form of scratch notation, that's what it'll look like, right? So you're getting the forward sound, but you're not getting the pullback. You're taking that out with the fader. So boom, boom, boom. Those are cuts. I'll demonstrate that now. Okay, most of them anyway were variations on the stab or the cut. Up next is the transform. You do the transform basically by, you get a long sound. And, okay, for now you will be using the ah, but you basically let that play, cut a load of sounds into it. So. Oh, sorry, I'd never done one of these with a mic before. I'm used to having two hands. So, all right. Yeah, so with our system of scratch notation, transforms work like this. So that's your record going forward and going back. And we'll just... That would basically be 3 forward and 2 back, but you can do any combination of those. You could go, let's say, 1 forward, 3 back, 2 and 2. They're all kind of variations on the transform. You can, make up your own, whatever number you want to do or whatever. So, okay, I'll demonstrate a few of them now. Alright, so 2-2 would be... 3-2 would be like... 1 and 3. There's actually showing some 4s in there, but you get the idea. It's just a long sound, you're cutting the sound in and out. Okay, all variations on transform. Okay, up next is the tear. It's another faderless scratch. You don't use the crossfader at all. It's just left on, but you kind of replicate the sounds that you might use using the fader with just the record. So the easiest transform to do is like 1 forward and 2 back. So that'd be. But again, it's like the transform, you can do any variation on that. So you could do like, say, 2 forward, 1 back. Or you could do 1 forward, 3 back. yeah, whatever you wanted to do. 2 forward and 2 back is called a clover tear. It's like this. So yeah, there's any kind of variation you want to do on that. Those are all called tears. So I'll demonstrate some of them now. Okay, that's them. And I don't know, for anyone who was interested, scratch notation, a tear looks like this. Well, yeah. Let's say that's a clover tear. So you're going 1, 2, and 3, 4. 3 forward and 1 back would look like this. Makes sense? All right, tears. Next up is the chirp. This kind of, I don't know, I think it's the most important one, really. If you can chirp well, you can scratch well. If that was the only scratch you knew how to do, you'd be okay, you know. Okay, yeah, chirps. Hang on, let me just break it down how they work on scratch notation. If that's your record going forward and back, you're basically cutting out that area there. So you're getting the sound coming forward and coming back. It's a lot like the baby, but you cut out that section and it gives you kind of a sharper, stabbier sound, I guess. So how it works is your fader is open, the sound comes in, you cut it out, and you pull it back, and you get the sound coming on the way back as well. So it's a lot like the baby, except that, except it sounds kind of sharper and better. So yeah, I'll demonstrate that now over a beat.
You are truly a man of great...
Okay, so yeah, that's the chirp. It's yeah, an important scratch. I guess like the main thing to remember when you're doing the chirps is that your hands are mirrored. Basically, your hands go out and back, you know? So they're moving, yeah, away from each other and back again. Whereas the cut, say, it'd be the opposite. Your hands are both moving in the same direction, but with the chirp, it's the opposite. That's the chirp. Okay, now this is where things get a little awkward. This one's called the one-click flare, and it basically allows you to make twice the amount of sounds as fader clicks, so it helps if you're trying to scratch really fast. So how it looks on scratch notation is, let's say that's back and forward. You cut the sound out twice, and that leaves you with 4 sounds. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, but you're only cutting the fader twice. So it allows you to scratch twice as fast as, you know, the number of fader hits you're doing. So that's the one-click flare. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 sounds, 2 cuts. So yeah, just the fader's open. So the fader's open, and when the sound comes in, you cut it out once, making two sounds, and you do the same in the reverse. Okay. One click flare. So that's that done. You can also do two click flares. They work more or less the same way, but you add an extra cut in your sound. So let's say that's your one click flare, your two click flare looks like that. So you cut the sound out twice on the way forward and the way back, and it leaves you with 3 sounds on each side, or 6 sounds. So yeah, that's your two click flare. It's also called the orbit.
You are truly a man of great...
So yeah, that's the orbit. You can also do 3 click flares. I can't do them, but they exist. So yeah, 3 click sounds would give you 8 notes, I suppose. That's 2 click. The crab. The crab, you basically you use your thumb as a spring, so you're holding the crossfader out with the thumb, and you hit it with your fingers 3 times or 4. Some people use 4 fingers. I prefer to use 3. It gives you 3 quick notes. So yeah, how that sounds is, I suppose in scratch notation, like 3 forward, 3 back. That's the crab. It's the same as the transform, but you're just doing it really fast. It's a different method. Yeah, that's the crab. Another way of doing it, it's similar to the crab, but you only use 2 fingers. It's called the twiddle. And that's basically, again, you're holding out the crossfader with your thumb and just tapping it in with your fingers. But yeah, I find it easier to do the reverse of that, so you're holding the fader open with your thumb and you're clicking it out with your two fingers. I'll demonstrate that. Yeah. So again with scratch notation, it's just transforms. It looks the same. It's just a different method of doing it with your hands. That's basically all the scratches I know. After that, it's just combinations, putting one in front of the other. So. My favorite combination is the chirp flare. So it's basically a chirp into a one-click flare. And then, you know, you put them together and do it fast, and it sounds like this. Yeah, that's the chirp flare. There's all different types of kind of combinations you can do. There's like a baby into a two-click flare, that would be... You can make up your own, really, you know. Let's say transform into a crab would be... I don't know. You just basically make up your own combinations of it, whatever you enjoy. So yeah, that's more or less how all the basic scratches break down anyway. Like I was saying, after that it's all combinations. After that I just have a few like do's and don'ts, I suppose, of scratching. I suppose we'll start with the do's. Okay, so yeah, just try to use like a variation of drags, which is when you make the sound go slow, and fast cuts to give your cuts variation so they don't sound kind of flat and monotone, you know. You can get, not exactly melodies, but you get kind of variation in the tone, and it keeps things sounding interesting rather than flat, I suppose. Kind of some repetition in your patterns is good. It's good to repeat yourself, but don't go overboard with that. There's nothing worse than hearing the same pattern over and over again. But if it's used sparingly, like repetition is definitely a good thing. Be sure to add silence to your patterns. If you're just going full on all the time and you never stop, it gets a bit much to listen to. It's a bit full on for the ear. So it's good just to add those gaps of silence. Be sure to add simple patterns as well as the more complex scratches. If you just go full on all the time, again, it just gets way too much to listen to. So be sure to throw in kind of simple patterns in the meantime. If you're able to, definitely I'd recommend practicing with other scratch DJs. It doesn't really matter what skill level they're at or anything. You can learn something from everyone. Every scratch DJ has certain things that they're good at. Everyone has their own style. So practicing with other scratch DJs can kind of open you up to new things that you probably wouldn't have thought of on your own. There's a bunch of tutorials on YouTube that can help you break down all the scratches that I showed you today. And, they're a handy tool, I suppose, that wasn't around when I started scratch DJing. So if you're learning, I definitely recommend checking some of them out. There's some great tutorials there. If you're learning a new kind of pattern of a scratch, I'd say definitely try to learn how to do it slowly first rather than trying to do it fast. It's a mistake a lot of people make, but just get really comfortable with doing it as slow as possible and build up from there rather than trying to do it fast straight away.